Welcome beyond the veil. You are listening to Moonlight and Ironwood. If you want to skip the wait and download the full audiobook right now, the link is in the description. Now, take a deep breath. The mist is rising. Chapter 21. The Master of Pain. The name Kaelin meant nothing to me, but the reaction of the elders, the sudden pallor of Aiden Stone, and the grim line of Aiden's mouth told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't just a teacher. He was a punishment. He arrived the next morning at dawn. There were no black SUVs this time, no fanfare, just a single figure walking up the long driveway, emerging from the mist like a wraith. I stood on the porch with Aiden, Caleb, and Nia. My inner circle was ready for war, but the man approaching didn't look like a warrior. He looked bored. Master Kaelin was tall, lean, and dressed entirely in worn grey leather that looked more functional than ceremonial. His hair was shaved close to his skull, revealing a myriad of silver scars that crisscrossed his scalp. His face was sharp, angular, and utterly devoid of emotion. His eyes were the colour of steel. He stopped at the bottom of the steps. He didn't bow to Aiden Stone. He didn't acknowledge Aiden. He looked straight at me. So, his voice was like gravel grinding together. This is the bomb. I am Luna Journey, I said, trying to project the confidence I had faked with the elders. I don't care about your title, girl, Kaelin said, walking up the steps. He moved with a predator's grace, soundless and terrifying. Titles are words. Words don't stop you from killing your mate in his sleep because you had a bad dream. Aiden stepped forward, a growl building in his chest. Watch your tone. Kaelin glanced at Aiden. It was barely a flicker of attention, but suddenly, Aiden gasped and dropped to one knee, clutching his chest as if he'd been punched. Aiden, I cried, reaching for him. Don't touch him, Kaelin commanded. I froze. My body obeyed before my mind could process the order. It wasn't just a command, it was alpha power, refined and weaponized. He's fine, Kaelin said, turning back to me. I just compressed the air in his lungs for a second. A warning. From this moment on, Alpha, you do not interfere. If you step between me and my student, I will drop you, and I won't be gentle next time. Aiden wheezed, glaring up at Kaelin with murder in his eyes, but he stayed down. He knew, just like I did, that this man was dangerous on a level we hadn't encountered before. Follow me, Kaelin said to me. Training starts now. Where? I asked. The gym? The woods, he said, already walking away. Gyms are for children. Royals are forged in the wild. I looked at Aiden. He nodded, breathless but resolute. Go, he mind-linked. I'll be watching. I followed Kaelin into the dense forest bordering the estate. We walked for 20 minutes in silence. He didn't slow down for me, didn't check to see if I was keeping up. Finally, we reached a small clearing near the river. The ground was muddy and uneven. Strip, Kaelin said. I crossed my arms. Excuse me? Shift, he corrected, sounding annoyed. I need to see the beast, not the girl. I hesitated. Shifting was vulnerable. Doing it in front of this cold, scarred stranger felt wrong. But I remembered Thorn's threat. Chains. I closed my eyes and let my wolf forward. The change came easier now, familiar. I landed on all fours, my violet eyes meeting his steel ones. Kaelin circled me. He poked my flank with a stick he'd picked up. Hey, I growled. Sloppy, he muttered. Too heavy on the front paws. You carry your weight like a human, not a predator, and your mental barriers are paper thin. I can hear you whining from here." He stopped in front of me. "Attack me." I blinked. "What?" "You heard me. Attack me. Kill me if you can." "I don't want to kill you," I told him. "That," Kaelin said, dropping into a defensive crouch, "is why you will fail. A royal who hesitates is a dead royal. Now, come at me." He lunged. He didn't shift. He stayed in human form, but he was faster than any human had a right to be. He kicked me in the ribs, hard. I yelped, stumbling sideways. My wolf snarled, instinct taking over. I snapped at his leg. He sidestepped effortlessly and grabbed the scruff of my neck, slamming my face into the mud. "Pathetic," he hissed in my ear. "Is this the power that scared the council? You're a puppy." Rage flared hot in my chest. "I am not a puppy." I thrusted backward, breaking his grip. I spun around, gathering that energy, that scream, in my throat. "Don't you dare," Kaelin said calmly. He held up a hand. A silver band on his wrist glinted. Suddenly, my throat closed up. I choked, the scream dying before it could be born. My legs gave out, and I collapsed into the mud, gasping for air that wouldn't come. "That," Kaelin said, tapping the silver cuff on his wrist, "is a dampener. It links to the collar I just slipped on you while you were face down in the dirt." I clawed at my neck. There was a thin, cold metal band there. I hadn't even felt him put it on. "It restricts your vocal cords when you try to use the royal voice," he explained. "You rely on that scream too much. It's a crutch. Until you learn to fight with your teeth and your claws and your mind, you don't get to use the nuke." He released the pressure on the dampener. I sucked in a greedy breath of air, coughing up mud. "Get up," Kaelin ordered. "Again." I got up. I attacked. He slammed me down. Again. He threw me into a tree. Again. He pinned me until my vision went black. Again. For hours, he beat me. He humiliated me. He tore through my defenses like they were tissue paper. By the time the sun was high in the sky, I was bruised, bleeding, and exhausted. I shifted back into human form, curling into a ball on the muddy bank, too weak to move. Kaelin stood over me, not a drop of sweat on him. "You have heart," he admitted, almost grudgingly. "But you have no discipline. You fight like a brawler, not a queen." He tossed a towel at me. It landed on my head. "Clean up. We start again at sunset. And bring your gamma. If she's going to be your shield, I need to see if she can take a hit." He turned and walked back toward the estate, leaving me lying in the mud, staring up at the canopy of trees. I touched the cold metal collar around my neck. It felt like a promise. He was going to break me. "No," my wolf whispered, battered but not beaten. "He will forge us." I dragged myself up, wiping the mud from my face. I would not break. I was Journey Ironwood. I was the Queen of Ruin, and I had a lesson to learn. Chapter 22. The Shield and the Sword. The sunset painted the sky in bruises of purple and red, matching the marks covering my body. "You look like you fought a blender," Nia noted, handing me an ice pack as we walked toward the clearing. "I feel like the blender won," I muttered, pressing the cold pack to my ribs. Nia wasn't wearing her taco pajamas this time. She was decked out in full gamma gear, black tactical pants, a reinforced vest, and arm guards. She looked fierce, even if she was barely 5 feet tall. She also had 2 batons strapped to her thighs. "Did you bring the skillet?" I asked. "No," Nia sighed. "Caleb said cast iron isn't standard issue. Killjoy." We reached the clearing. Master Caleb was waiting, standing exactly where I had left him hours ago, as if he hadn't moved a muscle. "You're late," he said, though the sun was just touching the horizon. "We're on time," I argued. "A royal is never on time," Kaelin countered. "A royal is early. If you are on time, you are already behind." He turned his steel gaze to Nia. He looked her up and down, unimpressed. "So this is the shield," he said. "An Omega." "Gamma Nia," Nia corrected, lifting her chin. "And I'm not just a shield. I'm the one who knows where you sleep." Kaelin didn't blink. "Threats are useless if you can't back them up. Step forward, Gamma." Nia stepped forward, her hands hovering near her batons. "Defend your Luna," Kaelin ordered. He moved. It was a blur of motion. 1 second he was 10 feet away, the next he was right in front of me, a fist aimed at my face. But he didn't hit me. Clang! Nia had moved. It wasn't speed, it was anticipation. She had thrown herself into his path, crossing her batons to catch his strike. The force of the blow drove her to her knees, but she didn't break. "Good reflexes," Kaelin grunted. He swept her legs out from under her. Nia hit the dirt hard, but she rolled instantly, popping back up into a defensive crouch. "Don't just stand there, Luna," Kaelin shouted at me, pivoting to launch a kick at Nia's head. "Your shield is taking a beating for you. Do something." My instinct was to scream, to blast him away. But the cold metal of the dampener on my neck hummed. A warning. No voice. "Then use the body," my wolf snarled. I shifted. The change was faster this time, fueled by the need to protect Nia. I launched myself at Kaelin, not aiming to bite, but to tackle. He saw me coming. He spun, using Nia as a pivot point, and threw a burst of compressed air at me. It hit me like a physical wall. I slid backward in the mud, claws tearing deep furrows in the earth. "Too slow," Kaelin taunted. He grabbed Nia by the back of her vest and threw her. She flew through the air and crashed into a bush. "Nia!" I roared mentally. "Oh," she groaned, but gave a thumbs up from the foliage. "I'm good, just pruning the landscaping." Kaelin turned his full attention to me. "You are a royal. You have more raw power in your little finger than most alphas have in their entire bodies. But you treat it like a shotgun. Messy. Loud." He walked toward me. "Focus it," he commanded. "Don't scream at the world. Scream at me. But do it without making a sound." "What does that even mean?" I thought frantically, backing away. "It means," Kaelin said, lunging, "impose your will. The world obeys you, Journey. Make it obey." He was on me, his hand closed around my throat, lifting my massive wolf form off the ground as if I were a toy. The dampener flared hot. I couldn't breathe. "Let go," I thought. "Let go, let go, let go." I pushed. Not with my paws, but with my mind. I pushed against the air, against gravity, against him. Submit. It wasn't a sound, it was a pressure. The air around us condensed, turning heavy and violet. Kaelin's eyes widened, his grip loosened. He was forced backward, his boots skidding in the mud, as if an invisible hand were shoving him. I dropped to the ground, gasping. The violet pressure remained, a shimmering barrier between us. Kalen straightened his jacket. He looked at the barrier, then at me. "Better," he said. "Messy, but better." Nia limped out of the bushes, leaves stuck in her hair. "Did she do it? Did she Jedi mind trick you?" "She used her aura," Kalen corrected. "She condensed her dominance into a physical force field. It's a defensive technique. Basic, but effective." He looked at me, and for the first time, there was a flicker of respect in his eyes. "You stopped trying to destroy," he said, "and you started trying to control. That is the first step." I shifted back, grabbing the towel he had left on a rock earlier to cover myself. "Does that mean we're done?" "For tonight," Kalen said. "But don't get comfortable. Tomorrow, we work on offense. And Gamma Nia?" Nia straightened, wincing. "Yes, Master Payne." "Work on your footing," he said. "You're top-heavy." He turned and vanished into the shadows of the forest. I collapsed onto the grass, my limbs shaking. Nia sat down beside me, groaning. "I think he hates me," she said. "I think he hates everyone," I replied. "But we survived." "Yeah," Nia said, pulling a leaf out of her hair. "We did." We sat there for a moment, watching the last light fade from the sky. The bruises were throbbing, and I knew tomorrow would be worse. But as I looked at the spot where I had created the barrier, where I had pushed back a master without lifting a finger, I felt a spark of something new. It wasn't just power, it was agency. I wasn't just a bomb anymore. I was starting to become the pilot. Chapter 23. The Alpha's Sword. While Journey learned to control the bomb, Aiden and Caleb were learning to build the fortress. The pack's gym was empty, the late-night silence broken only by the heavy thud of gloves hitting pads and the sharp intake of breath. "Again," Caleb grunted, holding up the striking pads. Aiden threw a right hook, his fist a blur. The impact echoed through the large room, sending a shockwave up Caleb's arm. "Harder," Caleb challenged, stepping back to absorb the momentum. "That wouldn't even bruise a rogue." Aiden growled, frustration fueling his muscles. He unleashed a flurry of punches, jab, cross, hook, each one landing with the force of a sledgehammer. He wasn't just hitting the pads, he was hitting Kalen. He was hitting the council. He was hitting every threat that dared to look at Journey. "Time," Caleb called out, lowering the pads. Aiden stopped, chest heaving, sweat dripping from his brow. He walked over to the bench and grabbed a water bottle, downing half of it in one go. "You're distracted," Caleb noted, wiping his own forehead with a towel. "I'm not distracted," Aiden snapped. "I'm motivated." The shadows are lengthening. That is the end of this chapter. Can't wait to see what happens next. You don't have to. Download the full, uninterrupted story right now at the link below. Otherwise, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Sweet nightmares.